What So in Atharveda, there is something called as abhichara, which is nothing but it is a psychological warfare. So there have been like a lot of methods that have been used in our ancient warfare. There could be like six different type of warfare. One is vashikarna, to bring someone under control. Then to disrupt someone's activity. Third is mohana, to cause mental instability. So there are various methods that have been given in Atharveda to do all of these. To cause enmity between people, you see, like if somebody is your enemy, they will make sure like you fight with someone else and you are fighting among yourselves, and they will take the fruit out of it. And then there is uchatana, which is just locate someone, and marana, to cause someone's death. So there have been like a lot of studies that have been provided in abhichara, which is like mentioned in Atharveda. And also these rites have been so the special knowledge and the magic can be invoked by various chants, and also by your food. In various plants and various animals, here there have been all these six different methods can be invoked, and they could be invoked in the enemy. So coming back to why food is important, food is directly affecting human mind, and human mind, whatever the human mind is thinking, that becomes the karma. So that is why it becomes so important to understand this concept of karma, understand the concept of antakarna, and how the mind is made up of food and whatever we are putting inside our head, and how there has been studies in the Vedas where for battles and wars, there have been various methods which is documented in Abhichara, and all of these are six different methods to bring someone under control. There have been to disrupt someone's activity, to cause mental instability, to cause enmity between people, to dislocate someone, and to cause someone's death. And some of these practices could be done by planting yantra at enemy's place, by performing homa or some ritual, by performing animal sacrifice, by giving poisonous substances, by causing harm to an idol representing the enemy. Rituals can be done on a cremation ground. So there are different practices that were being followed in some of ancient methods. But then causing harm by such means are completely illegal, and it shouldn't be practiced, because in Kali Yuga, what happens is nothing will work. Even if it works for like some time, it is going to counter effect, because Maharaji is used to say that all these mantras and practices, even one small word or one alphabet error changes the meaning of everything. It can counter effect to someone who is doing these negative things. And you would be surprised that Abhichara has been translated in various European and other languages all across the world. The books are being sent. But then it is quite an interesting part of Vedas, which is associated with battles. And also one thing to note, as Aruna and Mitra. So Mitra is the patron of military, and military in ancient civilization was formed to safeguard Soma, which was going to get extinct. So that is something I wanted to point out. Do you have any questions on any of this, Atra?
I think it's just, I just think of voodoo when I think causing harm to an idol representing the enemy, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh,
it's all similar.
Voodoo dolls.
Yeah, it's all similar, yes.
Oh my gosh, it's just, that's a bit scary, that these things can be done.
One has to be very, very careful, because you see, like these chakras that we are talking about, by these practices, they can be blocked. You know, when somebody gives a lot of fear to humanity, the first chakra automatically gets blocked. When can we see this? Like, for example, 400 years back, when a lot of women in Europe and Britain, they were being killed by saying that, wrongly accusing them of being witches. What happened is a lot of women started meowing like cats. You know what fear does to humanity? It changes the entire psyche, you see, like meowing like they're actually meowing like cats. Or there was a dance maniac that has been documented, like a lot of people because of fear started to dance, and they fell, like they used to die dancing, like they couldn't stop dancing. So fear is like a very very strong emotion, and if the first chakra is blocked, it has to there are methods to unblock it as well. And it could be unblocked only by realizing what has been happening, to understand how this fear was inbuilt. Once we understand that, that fear gets unblocked and that chakra gets unblocked. So realizing something unblocks a chakra as well. And yeah, so these are the methods.
Yeah. What did you say was the name of this condition that those ladies developed? Who were meowing. I know that there's a term for this the disorder. Is it called mass
mass maniac? Yeah.
Mass mania. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something interesting. If you look into history, examples of that, then it's good to learn from history. So to be prepared, like for the future. I mean, God forbid that we should face any such similar situation, but it's good to know these things. So yeah, but it's good to know that you say that during Kaliyuga that these things won't work, or even if they do work, will work for a very short amount of time, and that yeah. No, these things shouldn't be done anyway. It's all not creating positive karma for the self. So yeah, and it's just all the more reason they say that just try to it's like it's connected with that moving to change the fractal pattern, just trying to trying to unblock the chakras, trying to break any negative cycles. So
one thing to note is, like, with all these negative practices where people so one thing, first thing that we need to understand is Vedas can be understood by positive or negative people as well. And the amount of knowledge one has, only that much good or bad that person can do. Say, for example, you have got certain amount of knowledge and you're a good person. You can only do good until that. You can't do good more than that. So if you improve like your knowledge, the amount of knowledge a good or a bad person has, only that is proportional to the amount of good and bad they can do, depending upon how they are. And the second thing about abhichara or any of these methods is, like, people can influence you to do something by these methods, but then it becomes your choice to get influenced and do it. So then it becomes your karma, it doesn't become their karma. You see how I mean? Like, for example, somebody can influence you to buy sugar, buy cakes and everything, like, sugar products. But then it is your karma because you have ignored the facts and you're choosing to eat so much of sugar, and then diabetes happens. So it becomes your karma and you repent for that karma. So by all these methods, one can influence you, but it is always your free will and your choice. You always have, that is the power of free will, and that is the power that we can change the fractal.
Yep, that's true. Yep. So it's good to be mindful of the influences that are there in various aspects, be it people, groups, advertising, or other forms of media. It's good to know and to be able to have that discernment and use your free will to see through any illusions and just just be in alignment with what the truth is, so seeing things as they really are.
Yeah. So this is something from Vedas I wanted to, and I think if we understand Garud view, it helps to understand or get rid of abhichara. And also if we pray to Lord Hanuman ji, and there are other goddesses as well, it helps us get rid of any of the negative abhichara that might have happened accidentally to us. And so there have been a lot of views, or it's like chakra view, or it's nothing but military formation that have been mentioned in the Vedas. One of the interesting one I found was Garuda view. It looks like an eagle. This is nothing but if you see these tiny bits, these are a tiny army, people who have formed like a Matsya, or sorry, it's a Makara view, which is like a what do you say, a sea creature, or a crocodile or a fish. And chakra view is like goal. It's like round and round. It's like a chakra. And in Mahabharata, it said that Kauravas came in this kind of formation, whereas Pandavas came as a Makara view. And there are different views that we can understand in the Vedas and other scriptures, and it's very, very, very interesting how the military formation, how the absence of soma substances could have formed military, the first military in human civilization, how Mitra, who is the patron of military, and also he's the deity of friendship and love. Love is nothing but soma. So how the first military was formed in human civilization, it gives us like a key to understand that, and how the military formation examples have been provided, and how different battles, battle of 20 kings and battle of 10 kings, that have been provided in the Vedas. It's very, very interesting to understand. Do you have any questions, Uttara, so far?
No, that's just thank you for covering this. It's really interesting. It's giving me a flashback to when I read the Amachitra Kathas about these military formations in the Mahabharata, the Chakravyuh and the other formations. I think there was one which looked like a lotus flower or something. Maybe I'm not remembering correctly. That's just really...
Yeah, the Padma view. Yeah.
Yeah, Padma view. Yeah, oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, this was like the diagram for it. Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting. Yeah, and so but it's interesting also that you say that perhaps the first wars may have, or at least the first bits of military or warfare may have started because of lack of
soma substances.
Yeah.
Yeah, because to understand this subject, Vedas and higher knowledge, you need to have higher perception. Our human mind is very, very limited. Its perception is very, very limited. It definitely requires higher perception. That in the ancient world, external substances were providing us, but now after they were extinct in Kali Yuga, there have been sages have provided us various other methods, like there is a bhakti route, there is a tantra route, there is meditation route. There are various other categories, like 64 categories of bhakti. There are 64 probably categories of meditation and tantra and other methods as well. So all of these need to be analyzed further to understand like how to generate soma automatically rather than depending on any external substances. Like meditation is, I think, the best, and also bhakti or devotion is also quite powerful to generate soma substances. And we had discussed about all the chakras and how Ida, Pingla, and Sushumna Nadi are, and how Rahu Ketu, the snake, which is biting its tail, Rahu Ketu, it's sleeping inside the Muladhara, and how it can be awakened through various methods, and how the channel, we can activate our spiritual channel, which is the Sushumna channel. Do you have any questions so far before we go to the next slide?
Yeah, I just find it intriguing that I think you said that the deity of the military or warfare, so you say Mitra, and yet and yet it's also interesting that he's also the deity of friendship as well, as Mitra means friend, and that I find that really interesting.
Yeah. So one thing we need to know is Soma is nothing but love. Yeah. Because it is creating love within the human body, and it is love can create a higher perception as well, not the worldly love, the divine love. That is what I meant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that is why he is associated with Soma. That is why associated with love and friendship, because he's also associated. You know, the energy between Radha and Krishna. There is every relationship has got an energy. So he is the personification of that energy, that friendship or that love between Radha and Krishna is Mitra. So in a primordial level, in a causal level, even the Devtas, various emotion, their anger becomes someone, their fear becomes someone, their happiness becomes someone. So similarly, Radha Krishna's friendship and love, that personification is nothing but Mitra.
That's so interesting you say that, because I know that there are concepts that I have. My meditation and Reiki teacher, she said that that you have to be. It's good to be careful about your thoughts, because sometimes your thoughts and emotions can create entities. Not that I'm trying to scare anybody, like, who may believe in this. No, don't be scared or anything. It's nothing too dangerous, but it's
true. It's definitely true, because so we live in a four-dimensional world that we have seen, and there are various other infinite dimensions. So we never know like how powerful our thoughts are. It might be creating someone, it might be destroying someone. So we have to. So that is the power of our thought, and it's so powerful that it is also creating our own karma.
Yeah.
By which we are getting rebirth as well. So thoughts are very powerful. They travel far.
Yeah.
And it's true, actually.
Sorry, I hope did I get sorry, did you say it was Varuna was the deity of the military and
No, Varuna and Mitra, they are sometimes associated as one god, or sometimes they are associated as two different gods. So you see Varuna and Mitra. So Varuna is the one with the 1,000 eyes.
Yeah.
The highest perception.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he has got this makara, which is like the ancient animal, which looks like a crocodile and elephant and a tiger. Yeah. And Varuna and Mitra, they once saw Urvashi, who came from a different, loka, and then they fall in. Both of them, they fall for Urvashi, and their children are Vasishta and Agastya. Vasishta's children are Shakti, then Shakti's child is Parashara, and their child is Vedvyas, and all of them are associated with Vedic astrology as well. Like Agastya has written like Nari Jyotishya. Parashara has got his own methods of teaching astrology. If you see the ancient Mitrayam that we saw in one of the podcasts, where even in Europe and Britain, you would find a lot of Mitrayam, which is nothing but they are children of Mitras, they call. And even there, you would see association with Vedic astrology and how everyone is being pulled into this simulation. They have got various. So Vedic astrology is nothing but study of that product karma, upon which we are being pulled and into different buckets, and then we are being pulled into this particular reality or simulation or the Maya world. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Very interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, and then we should also understand a little bit about Mercury, who is Mercury is Buddha Dev in Vedic in Vedas. How was he born? So you know the moon. So moon falls in love with Jupiter's wife Tara, and then he elopes with Tara, and their love child is Mercury. Yeah. So he's associated with various. So every deity is associated with some archetypes. In Carl Jung's terminology, they are associated with. So Mercury is associated with commerce, with communication, with internet, with Facebook, and with YouTube, and so on. So all of them are, and also with how does it work? They also are associated with trading. And they are also associated with alchemy, the magic, abhichara that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And so abhichara could be good and bad as well. Good abhichara is like unblocking the chakras, and bad is blocking the chakras. So a lot of association with chakras and Rahu and Ketu. So
abhichara is one of the translations is alchemy then, huh?
Yes, so maybe in English terminology, it's alchemy. But what it does, it has got studies in it to either block the chakra through black magic and unblock it through white magic. You see this abhichara that we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It has got 6 different types. So it does nothing but it either blocks or unblocks. The good one is like it unblocks the chakra, and the bad one is like it blocks the chakra. Yeah. But it was actually used in warfare, where, say, for example, there are 2 sides. They always try their enemy to fall under the psychological distress, so that their chakras are blocked, and they can't, fight back. So that is why these books were quite hidden in ancient world, to be honest. Because if your enemy knows about these methods, they can counterattack and put that onto you. So so having said that, Buddha Dev, he works with Rahu and Ketu, because it is blocking and unblocking. So if you see Buddha Dev, you will see Mercury. This is a painting that I got from ancient Roman Empire in Pompeii. His, if you see like these 2 snakes. Yeah. So that is Rahu and Ketu. What Mercury is doing is it's controlling the chakras using Rahu and Ketu, the Ida and Pingala and Sushumna. It can be used either ways, the positive and negative. So that is one of the depiction. In Ayurveda, in ancient past, they were using Mercury for healing purposes as well. Now it has been stopped, I think. But in the ancient Vedic period, when they had this knowledge in their hand, they used to have use Mercury. And one of, I think, Mercury is also associated with the 3 steps of Hindu god Vishnu. You know, the Vaman avatar who took the 3 steps.
Yes.
Also associated with Mercury. Yeah. That is because Mercury is number 3, Gemini. Yeah, it is associated with Gemini, and one of the nakshatras in Gemini is Punarvasu, and Punarvasu deity is Aditi, and Aditi's son is Vaman avatar. So that's the link there. It's
interesting.
Long tailed.
And is Mercury, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is Mercury the lord of the Shravan Nakshatra? Or have I got that wrong? Yeah, sorry.
No, you're right. Mercury is, yes, Shravan Nakshatra, and Gemini Punarvasu deity is Jupiter. Yeah.
Interesting. It's just really interesting how these things connect together, and also yes. I know I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but I know with the Abhichara being alchemy, or and there's Yantra Drona. I know I'm digressing a bit, but again, it's I was just thinking of a series, and I know it's a Japanese anime series. It's really well known, I think, amongst people who like Japanese anime, as in the Japanese animated shows. It was called. There were 2 series that were adaptations of the same manga series, and the first one, made in 2003, was called Fullmetal Alchemist, and the second one was called Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. But they both basically are all about the stories about 2 brothers who they're trying to look for the philosopher's stone, and after the death of their mother, who they tried to bring back to life using alchemy, but it was against the laws of alchemy according to that storyline. But what's interesting in there is that I just think of there are one brother, he would have to he would draw these sort of signs on the ground and then perform his alchemy there. And so I think I'm thinking of yantras or something. I just wonder, is that just a coincidence? Although I think if I recall correctly, I think the author of the original manga or Japanese comic series, that was the, upon which the shows were based. I think she had done research into history of alchemy and things. So then I just think of when you said placing yantra and enemies. I was thinking, and when you said Avijara alchemy, I just put those. It's just making me think of that. It's that is a deeply philosophical anime as well. It's got questions about science versus religion versus spirituality, and it's a very highly interesting series. Yeah, you probably would enjoy it. Yeah, it's got some very powerful, thought-provoking themes. So I just thought of that when you were talking about this. So, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, we need to go back and understand where all these are coming from. Like, when you're planting yantra at enemy's place, it could be one of the practices to do these 6 avichara or psychological distress to your enemy. What we would see is, like, is there any truth to even this? Like, if you see East India Company, they have got their offices in London, in near Bank Station, and Monument in between them, I think. If you see there on their walls, they had this painting for a very long time. Currently, it should be in British Museum, if I'm not wrong. In there, you would see Mercury and the symbol here. If you see, it's Rahu and Ketu.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And what it is depicting is this lady here is Britain, and this lady here is India, and this lady here is China. So China is offering its tea and everything, and India is offering its riches, all the gold and jewelry, to Britain. And all of this is being performed via Mercury, via trade, and the symbol is there. Is this avichara? You might want to question it after reading all this about the chakras, about blocking, and the yantras, because this is like nothing but a diagram. Yantra is nothing but a diagram. This painting is quite famous. It is called as the East offering its riches to Britannia. It has got a Greek and Italian translation to it. And we know for a fact that avichara is nothing but psychological distress. Has anyone done psychological distress to all of us? Time should tell. So this is one of the diagrams that has been, which I found very interesting, and with themes of Mercury. And I took this picture from Pompeii, which is like one of the ancient Roman empires, which was, I think it was 1 AD, where a big volcano erupted and put the entire town of Pompeii inside ashes. And I think it was very late in 1900s or so. It was excavated, and they found all these beautiful paintings, and they got a glimpse of ancient Roman world. And you see they have lots of paintings on alchemy, and where we see Mercury and with the symbol of Rahu and Ketu of blocking the chakras. Also, in current US Army Medical Corps, the symbol is like this. You would see like Rahu and Ketu and these, feather-like system. So having said that, all these methods avichara can be good and bad as well. The good is like unblocking the chakra, bad is the blocking the chakra. So we need to analyze like what exactly all these things mean and what they are doing to are they even doing anything like, or but then it's interesting to note that there are parallels. And also in one of the paintings in the 15th century, you would see like a person is performing alchemy in Europe, and you would see Ouroboros, a dragon is eating its own tail, a reptile is eating its own tail. In a picture, this is a 15th century picture. It's in 1400s. This was formed. And also we saw like the parallels between alchemy, avichara, Ouroboros, Rahu Ketu, and Mercury, how Mercury is being used. And also there is in Vedas, you would find like three dosha theory, where all these dosha means negativity. It can be of three types: vata, kapha, and pitta. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, sorry for that. But then it is said that our body is formed of five different elements like ether, earth, water, fire, and air. If some of it is affected by any of these methods, we would get some of the dosha. So our chakras could be blocked because of this, and it could be unblocked as well. So there have been, so how do you unblock it? It's via movement. Sometimes cold will help, sometimes cohesion will help, sometimes transformation through knowledge, spiritual knowledge will help, sometimes light will also help. So this is like some of the description of three dosha theory and how it has been defined as vata, kapha, and pitta, and then how different elements are being affected because of that. And we had also seen like how pain in Vedas have been defined as three different kind of pain that humanity can face. One is pain due to nature, second is pain due to other people, and third is pain due to their own mind or their own thinking. So, we need to understand all these concepts, Vedic concepts, in quite more detail, in by doing our own analysis and research. And yeah, it's interesting to note all of this. Do you have any questions, Uttara?
Well, I just really find it thought-provoking, the title of the slide that you just showed, the alchemy / Ouroboros / Mercury. And Mercury, as we know, represents the buddhi, the intellect, and so it's I suppose it's like if you try to control your intellect, then you could perhaps try to control these pains. So, so it seems that that's one way of looking at it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.